All right, guys. So let's begin today and next week and probably the following week. We're going to be really emphasizing and focusing on the ideally mastering the scripts. And there are two scripts that I'm going to introduce you to. Both of them are very similar, but they're also a little bit different. So let's begin. What is the script, guys? The script is a guide or outline of questions, messages, and dialogues, as well as the objection handlers. Why do we use scripts? Okay, the reason we use scripts is it allows us to maintain consistency in our messaging, in our questioning. It also allows us to help us improve our lead generation and, more importantly, lead conversion. Knowing what to say and how to say it is very important when you're having communication with the buyers or sellers. It doesn't matter. It also helps us to overcome most common objections early in the process. Scripts are easy to modify and update to your liking. The key thing is when you're mastering those scripts, you don't have to kind of go word by word and memorize every single word. You can modify it, you can adjust it, you could essentially, the goal is for you to make it your own. And then, when you master the scripts, when you're really good at them, okay, you sound like a pro. You sound like a professional. We talked about this a couple of days ago. We all use scripts every day in our lives. We use scripts on our kids. We use scripts on our spouses or boyfriends or girlfriends. We use scripts even on our dogs when it comes to our dogs, So we use scripts, and it's important for you guys to really kind of dial in, really get good, and ideally, like I said, really master the script. So it starts with the way I really kind of master the scripts, or at least try to achieve mastering the scripts, is I write them down first. Okay, then I will read them. I would learn them, I would memorize them, I would internalize them, and then ultimately you want to make them your own. So this way, when you are having conversation, it's coming out naturally, it's free flowing. There's a saying, it's not what you say a lot of times, it's how you say it. Well, if you're not really mastering the script, a lot of times it's going to be like, what you're saying, and really a lot of times people are not really listening to what you're saying. They're really listening on how you're saying. So mastering and knowing the streams is going to be very, very, very important to you guys if you want to convert these leads at the higher level. The main script, the foundational script that we're going to be working on is the LP Mama script. Okay, LP Mama script. L right here stands for location. P stands for price. M stands for motivation. A stands for an agent. M stands for a mortgage, and then A right here is for an appointment. Now, one thing that we added also is a time frame. Motivation / time frame are together. Those are two key components for you to identify and discover during the conversation. Okay, so location-wise, where do they want to live? That's location. Price, how much house can they afford, or what is their budget? Motivation, why are they moving? Why are they buying? What's bringing them into city or town near you? Time frame, when can they move in? When they want to buy? When they want to move from Phoenix, let's say, to Prescott. Agent, have they signed an agreement with another agent? That's going to be important. I rarely ask this right here, just because the fact that if they are talking to you and they're having conversation with you and they're answering your questions and you're able to actually continue having conversations with them and meet with them, this is something that you may want to ask at a later time. But unless they bring this up, and in some cases they will bring this up and they'll say, hey, you know what, I'm working with an agent or committed to an agent, I would not really bring this up during the conversation. It's just another way or reason they can just, throw an objection at you. Mortgage piece of it, that's something that you may want to ask them. And typically it's in a subtle way where you can say, hey, it looks like you guys are looking to buy in $300,000. Are you going to be financing it, or are you paying cash? Or no, we're going to be financing. Oh, great. Have you been talking to a lender recently? Have you been talking to a lender recently? I don't ask them, have they been pre-qualified? First of all, not a lot of buyers understand what pre-qualification means. And secondly, it's like we don't want to be, presenting possible roadblocks. Like we just want to subtly ask them, it's like, hey, have you guys been talking to a lender lately? And they'll tell you yes or no. Okay. Every time when you're having a conversation, your ultimate goal, your number one objective is to book an appointment. Okay. That's really kind of the end game for you guys, because I know when you book an appointment and when they show up, most likely you will secure their business. The hardest part about these leads, aside from getting a hold of them, which kind of happened to me on Wednesday, I probably called like 47, 48 people and I got a hold of one person. But it was a decent lead, and it looks like he's looking to buy next couple of months. The hardest part about this whole thing is really getting in front of them. Now, with the blessings of technology right now, a lot of these conversations can happen via Zoom, via Google Meets. It doesn't have to be where you have to actually physically beat them in the office or a coffee shop. Now, if they are local and they're not that far from you, and they want to come to the office, great, invite them to the office. Ideally, you want to conduct your meetings in the office. Coffee shop, make sure the coffee shop is not too busy or too crowded. Some of these Starbuckses, you have these freeloaders, they buy a cup of coffee and they sit there for 4 hours. But I'm not knocking at them, not judging them, but I'm just saying, you buy a cup of coffee, it doesn't mean you live there. Drink your coffee and go. But the point being is the fact that you right now, it's normal or acceptable or even preferred, just to have a Zoom conversation with them or having a FaceTime with them, right? And have that meeting. Okay, so really the goal for you guys is to schedule that meeting. So this way you can present more value, find out more about their plans, and really kind of walk them through the entire home buying process. And that means introducing them to your strategic partners. And in our field, our strategic partners are going to be our loan officer. It's going to be an inspection company. It's going to be maybe a credit repair company, a home warranty company, a contractor, handyman, whatever they need, you got to have access to that as well. Okay. Any questions about the LP Mama script, guys? No. Now, one thing that agents kind of make a mistake on, and I see this constantly, is they really kind of follow step by step. Like they trying to identify the location first, then they try to identify the price, motivation, agent, mortgage. Now, your job, and this is the beautiful thing about the script, that the script is the outline, right? Your job, you can start with motivation, you can continue with location, you can then do a time frame. It doesn't matter where you start. The key thing is to ideally cover a lot of these things during your conversation. So this way you have a really good understanding if this is someone who is ready to do something now and motivated, or this is someone who is going to be a long-term nurturer. Because if they are ready to buy now, what do we want to do? We want to get in front of them. We want to introduce them to our lender. We want to start going out there and showing them homes as soon as possible. If they are 6, 7, 8, 9 months away or a year away, you still want to get in front of them, but the likelihood of them actually meeting with you is not going to be that great. It's not going to be that big because they're still not there yet mentally. Okay, so asking for this during your conversation is going to be important. Now, if you don't mind, guys, give me 2 or 3 key questions that you definitely want to answer and get a response from them during your initial phone call. What would be those questions?
Definitely, I would say price, because if you're sending them houses just to keep them interested, if you're sending them something 300,000 over their budget, they're just going to drop you.
Okay, price is one. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Location, situs. Where do you want to be?
Okay, location. All right.
What they're looking for in a home.
Okay, all right. That's a good conversation extender, right? To extend the
Right.
conversation, you definitely want to ask that question. Okay, what else?
When do you want to move?
Yeah. I think these two right here are going to be very, very important for you guys. Motivation and time frame. Motivation really kind of is going to be important because you want to know, why are they moving? Are they really serious buyers, or they're just kind of wishy-washy right now and they're more like a year or 2 years out?
Mm-hmm.
Time frame is you really want to identify whether this is a hot lead and ready to do something now, they're a watch lead that are 90 days plus, or they're a warm lead where they're like about 60 to 90 days. And based on those time frames, now you're going to have your follow-up sequences in place. If they're a hot lead, and we're going to elaborate on this much more when we do our follow-up session. If they're a hot lead, you want to be really kind of based with them as frequently as possible. If they're a hot lead, you want to get in front of them as fast as possible. That means you got to get them out there and start showing them homes tomorrow if they're a hot lead. Okay? 60 to 90 days away, or they're, let's say 60, 90 days away, you want to follow up with them no less than every 2 weeks. So if they tell you, you know what, I'm about 60 days away until I get my pre-qualification, or I'm 90 days away until we close on our house that we're selling, whatever it is, you want to follow up with them every 15 days, every 14 days, 15 days. And then if they're more like 3 months away, 4 months away, 5 months away, you want to schedule follow-ups every month, once every month. Okay? So let's dive in now into 2 scripts that I want to share with you today. And I'm going to share these scripts with you guys so you have it on your end as well. So the first one is, it's an LP Mama script. We revised it specifically for online buyer leads. Okay?
Okay.
You probably heard me saying, in doing this role playing with agents out there, very simple. John, usually we start with the name of the individual, question mark. Okay. Now, sometimes you can say, hi, is this John? Or may I speak to John? Right. But usually when you call somebody for the first time, okay, you just use their name, question mark. John, right? And a lot of times they're going to say what? Either yes or who's this? That's an acknowledgement that it's John, right? So John, hey John, this is Kelly with Best Homes Real Estate. We use our brokerage name, okay? And then what you want to do right away, you don't say how are you, how you doing. I make that mistake as well a lot of times, okay? It's just a habit. In this case, we don't really have that much time, okay? What we want to continue with is by saying, thanks for joining our website. Give the website name. Now, we have a Valley Home Search. Some of you have different website names, right? And then kind of give them a time frame when they actually join that website. So this way they can remember. Now, some of the leads are going to be brand new leads that are coming in, especially for those agents that are on a lead rotation. So you want to say a couple of minutes ago or a couple of hours ago, right? You're also going to be following up or calling the leads for the first time that registered or joined maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago, or maybe even a month ago. Okay. So just use that as your intro. Okay. Now, once you say this, do not stop. Continue. Hey, I noticed you're looking for homes or properties in the city, in Phoenix, or in Prescott, or in Glendale, or Goodyear, or Prescott Valley, okay? Is Phoenix where you're interested in buying? Is Phoenix where you're interested in buying? Or is Prescott where you're interested in buying? Okay? So by really asking those questions right up front, what are you going to get the response as? You're going to get a response that they say yes. They may say, no, you know what? I'm not really looking at Phoenix. I'm looking more in Glendale, or I'm not really looking in Prescott. I'm looking more in Prescott Valley. Okay. Or they can respond by saying, hey, you know what? I'm just looking, or I'm just browsing. Can you get that response? Yeah, you can get that response, right? Or they can say, you know what? I'm not looking at all. I don't know why you're calling me. You got the wrong number. You can do that as well. Okay. So let's say, for example, if they are looking in the city of Phoenix, okay, again, as soon as they acknowledge it and they say yes, okay, your thing is like, great. What are some of your must-haves that you're looking for in your next home? Or you can ask them by saying, hey, can you tell me a little bit more about what you're looking for in your next home? Okay, the reason we ask this question is because we want to continue to extend the conversation by asking open-ended questions. The last thing that we want to do is start telling them about us, telling them about our services, telling about how good we are or great we are. That's not what we talk about. We really want to find out as fast as possible, okay, why they want to move into the city, when they want to move into the city, and then what are they looking for in their property. Does it make sense? Okay. So here's another question that you can add right here if you choose to, especially if they say yes. And let's say buyer says yes, okay? What you want to also ask them, the buyer is like, what brings you in to Phoenix? That's another question. The reason we want to ask that question is to find out their motivation. Okay. Another question that you may want to ask them is like, do you currently live in Phoenix? That's a follow-up question. Okay. But if they say, yeah, I live in Phoenix, great. Now, if they say, well, you know what, I'm moving from Colorado, you know, what you want to do is, you know, what brings you into Phoenix? So do you currently live in Phoenix? Let's do it the other way around. Do you currently live in Phoenix? And then what brings you into Phoenix? Okay. So by having that question answered now, you're really trying to find out their motivation. Motivation. Okay. Now you can follow up by asking them, again, great. How soon do you want to move to Phoenix? You can do that. Now we're trying to find out what? Their time frame, correct? Their time frame. All right? Their time frame. So these are the key questions that you want to ask in the first, I would say, about 15 to 20 seconds of conversation. Okay, that will really allow you to know why they're moving, okay, and when they're moving. Now, here's some of the objections that you're going to get. The objections that you're going to get is, hey, you know what? I'm just looking right now. Or I'm just browsing. That's probably one of the most common objections that you're going to hear. I'm just looking. I'm just browsing. And in that case, we always want to start with the empathy. Empathy is going to be the key. The second thing that we continue with is finding some sort of a commonality or something in common. So the empathy here is, hey, you know what? I completely understand. Okay, smiley face. And then commonality is like, I work with a lot of buyers that started looking as well and ended up buying it. Before I let you go, that's an extension right here. You can use before I let you go many times during conversation to extend the conversations. Let me help you to customize your home search so the homes or the properties that you're receiving on a daily basis completely match your exact criteria. Would you like that? Or would that be okay? Okay. So we're bringing this value proposition to them by saying, hey, you know what? I completely understand. I work with a lot of buyers who are kind of in the same situation, but at least let me help you to customize your home search so the properties that you are receiving are matching your criteria. Okay. Now, when we ask that question, would that be okay? What are we trying to do? We're trying to extend the conversation and have them start sharing what they're looking for in a home. So when they start sharing, what happens next? What are we doing?
We're taking notes.
We're taking notes, but in addition to the notes, if some of these questions were not answered, we're going back to these questions, correct?
Right.
Right?
Yes.
We're going back to these questions. What brings you into Phoenix? How soon do you want to be in Phoenix? In what price range are you looking to buy in Phoenix? Right? So you follow up with those questions. So this way you get a pretty good idea if you're working with somebody who's an A lead, a B lead, or a C lead. Okay. Now, if you make this proposal to them, if you offer them this and they say no, here's what you follow up with. Say, you know, I completely understand. That's fine. Just out of curiosity, so when are you guys planning to buy a home? And when can I follow up with you? Okay, do not just give up, but oh, okay, all right, thanks. So, hey, you know what? I completely understand. When are you planning to buy a home so I can follow up with you? Is it 6 months? Is it 12 months down the road? When should I follow up with you? So they say, you know what? Never. Okay, then you just put that never. Okay. They can say, go pound your, the sand. I no longer like, don't even call me. They can do that. Right. I mean, I got a text yesterday from a sync lead said, what do you say? Forget my number or ghost me, something along those lines. I don't know, but whatever. It's just amusing to me. All right. But the point being is the fact that you're also going to have people that are going to say, look, you know what? Give me 6 months or give me a year. So when they do that, when they say that, hey, give me 6 months, give me even 4 months or 5 months, what you want to do is you want to ask them with this question right here. And this is going to be a money question for you guys. That's going to be really a game changer for you guys, not only working the online buyers, but leads in general, even working your sphere. When they give you a time frames more than 2 or 3 months long, and they don't really give you the reason why they need 3 months or they need months or they need a year or 2 years, this is the question that you want to ask them. Please help me understand what has to happen between now and a year from now in order for you guys to be ready or to buy a home or to sell a home. What needs to happen? Why do we ask this question? What is the reason?
Maybe to inquire whether or not they really know if they need more time. Maybe they feel like they need more time when they don't. Maybe they're ready to go and they just need someone experienced to remind them that, hey, maybe it is time. Let's go.
Yeah, you really want to find out what's really holding them back. What is the root cause that is really stopping them from making a decision right now, from moving forward right now? This is going to be a very important question for you guys. Not only working the online leads, but also when you're working, showing homes, when you're going out there and meeting with the sellers, your past clients, your sphere, it doesn't matter. This is a key question to ask. What has to happen from now to 5 months from now, or a year from now, or 2 years from now, in order for you guys to be ready with the purchase, ready with the sale, ready to move? That's a key question to ask.
What are some examples of like responses you've gotten to that?
Oh, that's a great question. Right on cue. So these are the responses. These are the responses right here. Okay. So some of the responses you're going to get are going to be something like, yeah, you need to come up with a down payment. You're going to get those. Okay. And our response is like what? What do we have? We have a DPA program, right? Down payment assistance right now. Down payment assistance right now, we'll give them 5%, 3.5% towards the down payment, and 1.5% towards their closing costs. And the interest rate right now, I think, and again, this is from a week and a half ago, was around 3%. So you can talk about that. You talk about that, and you always use your past experiences. Always try to use some stories where you helped out a couple where they had no money for a down payment, and you helped them with a down payment assistance program. They bought a $300,000 house with only spending about $1,000, $500 for inspection and $500 for home warranty. The seller paid half of their closing costs. The banker paid the other half. And then the banker put down 3.5% towards their down payment. So technically they wanted to bought a house, $300,000 house with $1,000 down payment. Okay. If you share that story with them, even though maybe some of you are new, never really, but the fact that you heard it from me, now it makes you part of the process.
It does happen. I did help my buyer. The one, yes, I recently closed, he only paid $900. And that's it.
That's it. Yeah. And how much was the house?
$210.
$210.
Yeah.
So the guy bought a $210,000 house.
Yeah.
By spending $900.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, right now, if you decide to rent a house, you're talking about the first month's rent, security deposit, cleaning fee. If you got a dog, you got a pet fee. Right there alone can be $4,000, $5,000 just to get into the house. Right? But you can help them with down payment assistance where they can come up with $900 or $1,000. They're buying a $200, $250, $300, $350 house, just like that. So that's one. Okay. So you always want to end up with a question like, hey, would you be interested in finding out more about it? Yeah, absolutely, Adrian. I would like to. Great. What would be a good time for us to get together via Zoom so I can have my lender present and he can go over in more detail what this program is all about? Would weekdays or weekends work for you better? Well, Adrian, I work, during the week. How about this Saturday? Great. Saturday morning or afternoon works for you better, John? Well, Adrian, you know what? In the morning, I like to spend some time with my kids. But in afternoon time, anytime after 1 o'clock, I'm game. Great. How about we schedule for 2 o'clock on Saturday? We'll do it via Zoom. I'll send you a link and I'll make sure my lender is present as well. So now you just booked an appointment. And you're bringing value to the table. You got your lender there as well. You see? But this is all happens by you asking this question right here. Hey, what has to happen in order for you guys to be ready? You need to come up with a down payment. Bad credit. That's another one. Find out what's going on with their credit. Find out why it's a bad credit. Hey, if you don't mind me asking you, and I appreciate you sharing this with me, but do you know what your credit score is right now? What happened? Show empathy. Relate to them. Find commonality. Hey, I completely understand. You know what? I helped out John and Mary last year, and they were kind of in very similar situation. And here's what we did. X, Y, and Z. Why don't we do this? Let's get my lender involved. Let's pull up your credit. Let's see what's going on with it. Okay? And my lender will give you his or her recommendations of what you have to do step by step to improve your credit. Would you be interested in that? It's complimentary, doesn't cost you anything. It's not going to affect your credit. Would you be interested in that? Yeah, I would be interested in that. Great. Would weekdays or weekends work for you better? See? Another one can be, hey, I'm currently renting. Okay, great. I completely get it. I work with the buyers that are also renters. Let me ask you this. Are you in a long-term lease or you're in a short-term lease? How many more months do you have left on your lease? And can you get out of your lease? And the reason I'm asking you is because if they have a lease directly with the landlord, not a property management company, a lot of times landlords can actually rent their house for more money now than they did 6 months or a year ago. And I had situations, I worked with the buyers that left their security deposit with the landlord, the next month's rent, and were able to get out of the lease. Another one, and this one is almost kind of like music, money music to your ears, is I need to sell my house. Okay, so you really want to kind of find out, they prefer to sell your home before you buy, right? Or no? Great, do you have a price in mind? No, okay. Would you be interested in us providing you a complimentary price analysis of your home? It's like an appraisal, but without you paying $400 for it. Another one is not ready. Well, again, go back to the same question. What has to happen? Here's the one that you're probably going to get quite a bit right now. Can't find what I like. Can't find what I like. Guy responds like, hey, you know what? I completely understand the challenge. Again, empathy, find commonality. The commonality is the fact that the market is on fire due to the low inventory and historical low interest rates. Having said that, we do have access to some homes that are not currently on the MLS. And you usually say multiple listing service because some people don't know MLS, what MLS is. That may be a good fit for you. Are you open to see them? Yeah, absolutely. Great, awesome. Well, why don't we get together this week or this weekend? I'll put together a list for you. All right. And by the way, are you planning to pay cash or you're going to be financing? Oh, no, I'm going to be financing. Oh, okay, great. Have you been talking to a lender? No, not really. Great. Would you be interested in having the lender present there as well during our conversation? So this way, at least you know how much house you can afford, what your monthly payments are going to be after principal and interest payments. Yeah, absolutely. Great. Awesome. Well, I'll make sure the lender is there as well, and we can do it via Zoom. So it's convenient for you guys. Okay. So these are some of the objections that you get. And these are the handlers, the objection handlers. And again, they may come up during the conversation, they may not. If they may not, you may want to ask this question. If they do come up during the conversation, this is what you have to be prepared to answer them with. You want to really master this. All of these objections, you want to master them. So you remember them. They're part of your like repertoire. Every time you memorize them. So when somebody tells you I'm currently renting, you respond. Somebody tells you I need to come up with a down payment, you respond. The biggest problem is agents do not master this piece. And then when somebody gives them this objection, they just don't know how to respond, or it doesn't come off the right way. We got to be able to master this piece right there. And there are going to be more objections, by the way. You're going to come up with more objections. Here's my thought on that is write them down. If you got stumped, if you don't know how to respond to it, write it down. Try to then figure out on your own. If not, you can always reach out to me. Okay?
Yeah, and I wanted to add something to all of what you just said, Alan. Is
Yeah.
obviously, like you said, there's going to be more objections, there's going to be more pushback. I mean, realistically, the odds of when you reach out to these online buyer leads for the first time and you actually do make contact, a lot of them are going to give you a little bit more pushback. But the good news is, even on a worst case scenario, like Alan said, you go through all of these questions, whether they give you, an extensive answer or very short answer or not. The point of the matter is, by asking these questions that need to pinpoint an exact answer that still somewhat give you a half answer, even if they're very bleak, it gives you an opportunity to create a plan or a roadmap, I like to call it, for that follow-up game. Because like Alan said, if they're saying 1 years down the road, now okay, I can check in on them quarterly, on semi-annually or whatever it is. If they mention certain holidays, certain anniversaries, check in on them at those times. But it allows you to set up those reminders. It allows you to properly utilize those labels, those tags, to make it easier to when you go up on your KV Core or your Sync, whatever system you're using, and you have your need to call people list. Boom. You don't even have to think about it. You don't have to remember. You don't have to waste time. It's going to be right there in front of your face. Last time I talked to them, this is what they said. They're 3 years out. You're checking in every quarter. You're checking in semi-annually. You're checking in, like Alan said, every 2 weeks, every month now at this point. So I think a lot of times when we start calling online leads for the first time, we get discouraged when it's constant pushback. Hey, have you talked to a lender? Yeah, I talked to him a while ago, but I'm not ready right now, or right now it's not the right time. So they're giving you a brush off kind of answer. Okay, he claims that he's talked to a lender, but that means, he could possibly need to talk to a new one recently. That still allows you to bring that up later on when you follow up. Or you know what? I'm not going to retire for another 3 years. I'm 3 years, 4 years, 5 years away from retirement. Okay, that's a long-term follow-up. So, maybe I don't need to call this guy every month, every 2 months. So when you see his name come up on the list of names, look at the to-dos. Hey, the reason I haven't called this guy in 2 months is because I'm not supposed to call him until another 6 months, 5 months, because he's 3-5 years down the road. And so that's why I always tell people, don't get discouraged if there's a lot of pushback and there's a lot of short answers, because those pushback and short answers just allow for an opportunity to follow up. And most of these, that's where a lot of that money is going to come in. It's going to come in on the follow-up. And hopefully you guys are going to be here in 5 years, 3 years, a year from now, when you're ready to buy.
God willing, we're all going to be here. But you're absolutely right, Alberto. Is like, and there are going to be situations where you're not going to be able to ask a lot of these questions on the initial phone call, and that's okay. That's fine. It doesn't mean it's a bad lead. It doesn't mean they're not interested in buying. It just means that you got to follow up and continue asking these questions and get to the bottom of it. So there's going to be times where they're going to be very short. They're going to be very brief, probably at work, doing something else. They're not going to go through all of these questions. They're not going to be able to answer all these questions. It doesn't mean they don't like you. Doesn't mean they don't want to work with you. It just means that you probably caught them at the wrong time. How many times do we get a phone call when we're doing something else, like, playing with the kids, washing dishes, chasing dogs, whatever, laundry, and we just don't want to have that 5-minute conversation, right? So follow up with them. There's nothing wrong with following up. Now, let's say you do have a good conversation with them. This is where you're going to be able to book an appointment. And this is the verbiage that you use now. You can modify this. You can make it your own. But basically, the way you want to say is like, hey, you know what, John, based on the information you've given me, here's what I recommend we do. Let's set up a time to get together to go over our home buying process with you guys. Maybe do some additional market overview. And then if you do have some time, I would love to have an opportunity to set out a couple of showings for you so we can go out there and start looking. Sounds like a plan. Yeah, absolutely. Let's get it done. Great. Would weekdays or weekends work for you better? What is the meaning of ABC? What's ABC stand for?
A is a hot lead. B is a
No,
nurture.
not categorizing. ABC is
Oh,
always be
Always
closing.
be closing.
always be closed.
Always be closing. Yeah. Always be closing. Always be closing. Always be closing. Right. Always be closing. Always try to get in front of them. Always try to do a Zoom. Right. Always try to have a meeting with them face to face, in person. Always, always, always. That should be always in your mind. If you're not doing it, somebody else is doing it. Okay. So that's one script. The second script that I want to show you guys and share with you is, I call it a to the point online buyer script. Okay. And this one really applies to, if you see them in sync, especially if you see them like their time frame is like 1 to 2 months or 1 to 3 months, and you see them actively looking at homes, this is a perfect script to use. Okay. And basically you introduce yourself. Okay. Hi, buyer name. Hey, John. Right. Hi, John. This is Kelly with Best Homes Real Estate. Thank you for recently joining our website, valleyhomesearch.com. Step number 2, I saw that you were interested in a property in Phoenix. When and what time would you like to go and see it? That's it. I saw you were interested, or you're looking at a property in Phoenix, and you can even mention the property. Like if they looked at the property more than 2 or 3 times, and Sync will actually show you that. I saw that you looked at this property on 1234 East Maple Street in Phoenix. When and what time you would like to go and see it? Okay. Step number 3, what most of my other buyers find helpful is that I add a few other properties with similar criteria to this one, so we have few homes to compare to. Now, again, you can use different verbiage here if you want to, but the point here is, your goal here is, what are some of your must-haves that you're looking for in your next home? Or what are you looking for in your next property that you want to purchase, or your next home that you want to purchase? And then you're closing. So just to recap, John, we'll be set to meet on date and time. I'll let you know what house to meet at first. I'll send you a text right after this call so you have my personal information and we can stay connected. That's it. That's the script. You can use the script again for those that are actively looking. You can use the script for those that timeframes are 1, 2, or 3 months. You can use the script for people that viewed the same property multiple times. Use the script. Now, again, if they go back to, I'm just looking, you can go back to the same script than the previous one. Some key items to remember: calls should last about 5 minutes, no more than that. Your goal is to set an appointment. If they're out of state, if they're not in state, offer them a virtual tour. That brings a lot of value right there. Don't worry about the financing. Don't worry about talking about the pre-qualification or a lender. That's something you can do that when you meet with them in person. Okay, tell them what you're going to do. Don't ask them yes, no questions, none of that. It's to the point. Let's go out there and start looking at homes. Smile, laugh, be fun. Buyers are looking for great experience. Only take a call when you're at place or you can comfortably do so. So again, obviously you want to be calling from the location where it's not noisy. And then of course you want to send a personalized text right away. You can do a video as well. So these are the two scripts, are really the foundational scripts for you guys to master, convert more leads, get in front of those leads, start showing homes, submit offers, negotiate offers, and close deals. Your job is to master these two scripts. Make them your own. Make them your own. By the way, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be word for word. It doesn't. It does not. That's why it's so important for you guys to actually like write it out the way you speak, the way you talk, the way you communicate. So it comes out natural. Okay. Any questions?
Are you going to be sharing these with us?
The scripts?
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm gonna insert both of them right now into Slack. You'll have that.
Awesome.
Same goes with the PowerPoint slide. Okay. All right. So we got that. Print them out, guys. Very important to print them out. Start writing them out, right? Learning them, memorizing them, internalizing them, and making them your own. Then what you also want to do is you want to start practicing. We want to start practicing. So what I would like to do right now, how many people do we have, Alberto? How many people do we have right now here on this call? Let me see. 10 people, right? That's including me and you. So there are actually 8 of you, right, guys? 8 participants. What I would like to do, guys, is for you to assign yourself a partner for the next, and let's do it for the next week, okay? Where you guys are going to be role-playing these scripts with each other. Okay? So let's do this. All right, I'm gonna assign, if you don't mind, guys, I will assign partners. I'm gonna have Susanna with Marta. Okay, Susanna, Marta. Okay, Adrian is going to be with Josh. Okay, Angela is going to be with let's see, Angela is going to be with Kelly, and then Samantha is going to be with Parker. Okay, I mean, you guys in Prescott, so you know, we just keep it together. All right, so you guys are going to be role playing every day. Line up like about 15 minutes to 20 minutes every day in your schedule. Set that schedule where you can role play these scripts. Okay. And for the next 2 weeks, this is what we're going to be focusing on. This is one of the foundational things of really getting good at working these leads. We got to go through this before we do anything else. Okay. Any questions, guys? Are we still excited?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're still excited, all right? I just
Yes.
just want to make sure we're still excited.
Yes, it's very good to learn how to do this the right way.
This is going to be life-changing for you guys. This is going to be like if you master this, You can apply these scripts, by the way, not only for online buyer leads, you can apply the same script on the sign calls. You can apply the same script when you're working with the open house leads, with your sphere, with even seller leads that are looking to buy. You can apply the script in many different other lead sources. So that's going to be very important for you guys. Very, very important. Okay, you got to take this thing seriously. I'm going to share these 2 scripts with you guys in Slack. If you do have any questions, again, Alberto is checking on you guys. All right, feel free to reach out to him. Feel free to reach out to me. All right, and we will see you. We will see you on Monday. Okay, when we are going to be role playing these scripts. Okay. Cool. Very good. Let's have a wonderful weekend, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Weekend.
Thank you.